All right. Anthony Santander. This one today, rumors that the Blue Jays and the Angels are the front runners for Santander. Um, Angels are, in the same boat as the Blue Jays here. They want to make something happen and they just can't because they lose out to other bigger market teams. But um, to me, I don't think the Blue Jays lose this one. I think the Blue Jays finally land their guy. I think Santander stays in the East. Um, I don't know. That's just me. I think he wants to go up there with Guerrero, Bichette. He would be a centerpiece in that lineup for sure behind those two. Blue Jays make a lot of sense for me here.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm going off menu. I'm going with the Mets on this one. They were so close on Teoscar and missed out on him. I think they desperately want another bat in that lineup. I do think they've got concerns about being able to re-sign Pete, and I think Santander would be a good place to pivot. So I see him making a lot of sense for the Mets.
Yeah.
I agree the Angels would be a good spot. I think the Blue Jays are probably the most likely still, but I'm still feeling like the Mets are going to make a run at him they haven't made yet. But I think it makes too much sense for them not to be calling to find out what the deal is.
But if the Mets don't want to spend on their glaring hole right now, which is starting pitching, are they
Oh.
going to want to spend that money for Santander for just another outfield spot?
Reports out of New York say they feel really good with the guys they have. They feel good about Robertson and McGill. They think those are major league ready starters.
Okay.
I
All
don't know.
right.
I'm not willing to bet 750 million bucks on Juan Soto that those guys are going to be enough to carry us back to the playoffs. But again, I'm not in that Mets front office, but they don't feel the need for starting pitching like we feel the need for starting pitching for them.
You're putting a lot of eggs in the Clay Holmes basket if that's what you're doing. And I mean,
Oh yeah,
yes, you brought back Mania. That's good for the Mets, but he's solid, and I don't think he's anything more than solid. Like the Mets need an ace in there, and maybe they're banking that Senga is going to be that ace. He's going to come back and he's going to give them ace-like stuff, which he has the potential to.
yep,
Maybe
yeah,
that's what they're rolling with is just Senga and Mania, and they're hoping to piece together the other 3/4 if they go with a 6-man rotation. I don't know.
yeah,
For me, if I like you said, if I spend all that money for Juan Soto, it's like, okay, I opened the window. The window is wide open for us to win now.
for 5 years.
Let's bring in everybody we can to win now.
Yeah, because if you don't
And
win in the next 5 years, Soto will likely opt out.
yeah, and I don't know. I mean, do I see the Mets spending for him? Sure. I mean, Cohen can pay for anybody he wants,
Yep.
really. But I don't know. For me, it's just something saying the Blue Jays aren't going to lose this one because they have been desperately trying to get free agents there, kind of like the Giants for the last few years. They finally landed Damas, but um, I feel like the Blue Jays are just desperate to bring in a decent free agent up there to at least give those two some sort of protection in that lineup.
Yeah, and then as of this morning, the Tigers have also called on him because if they don't get Bregman, I think he's a potential Plan B.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think Santander could be a guy who hangs out a little bit longer, waiting to see. I think the issue for Santander is that he's not kind of the A level free agent. He's that next tier down, and until you clear at all the A levels, you don't know what's left for you.
Which
Um,
which is crazy. A 44 and 100 guy, and we're like, hey, yeah, you're not quite good enough here.
it is funny though. Teoscar was, you know, getting much more attention than Santander, and I would say Santander is probably the guy you want out of the two of them. And the Dodgers ran on Santander until Teoscar finally came back.
Yeah.
So I mean, who knows? I think more teams will jump into this sweepstakes here shortly, but he may sit tight for a little bit longer.
Yeah, the Angels are definitely in there for sure. The Angels are a front runner for him. For me, I think it's the Blue Jays or the Angels because they need somebody there, and maybe it's the Angels' backup plan because they're not sure about Mike Trout's status either. Like, yes, he's not a center fielder, but it's another outfielder because, as we've talked about before, Mike Trout can't stay on the field, which is such a travesty for MLB. But maybe the Angels do kind of overpay or offer him top dollar to get him there. I don't know, but the Blue Jays have the cash, and they've told everybody, hey, we want to spend it. So I don't know. We'll see.
What I find surprising with Toronto, so all that being said, if Toronto was that, because they've been talking about Santander for 2 months now, like they've been in on him for this whole offseason. Why hasn't he signed yet? Like, if you're that serious, why have you not just blown this guy away with an offer to get him to sign? And I think that's what the Blue Jays do. I think they kind of nibble on the edge. They're like, hey, we're interested. Like, let's talk some terms, and hey, we might do this. But I think the difference is they lose out on guys because the teams come in and just ring the bell. Here's the offer that you really want. Sign it. Let's go. I think the Blue Jays don't make a strong enough offer to get guys to say, I'm done. Let's do this.
Yeah.
They're kind of hanging around, nibbling on the edge, and it doesn't work. Like if you wanted him that badly, he should have been signed by now. And now you run the risk of losing him to somebody else who wasn't even in the running for him a month ago. Right. Who's going to sweep in and grab him.
I think for you too is like, the Blue Jays could have called and offered him, top of the line, but do the players really want to go to Toronto? Like we've been talking about it the last few weeks. Like
I've been saying that for months now.
Right. Like these guys have a choice on where they play their next few seasons. And if Toronto comes in, if Colorado comes in, if Miami Marlins come in, like they have to blow my socks off to get me to go there. Otherwise than that, it's like, no, I'm going to sit back and wait and see what these other teams have to offer. Because I will take less to go to a Yankees, a Red Sox, somewhere that's desirable for me.